And we begin on a rather sad note. 2 female students have died and 23 others injured at Nasarawa State University during the distribution of palliative rice by the Nasarawa State government through the Office of the Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs and NGOs, midwifed by the Students' Union government of the university. Well, according to a statement by the head of the Information and Protocol Unit of the university, Ibrahim Habu Ekpo said the students arrived at the convocation arena as early as 2 a.m. on Friday, March 22, 2024, and gathered in the vicinity until about 9 a.m. when the screening process was set to commence. According to him, the breakdown of law and order due to the crowd led to forceful entry into the arena, resulting in a stampede that claimed the lives of 2 students, while 23 others sustained injuries.
Well, normalcy has since been restored as management investigates the cause of the incident. Well, joining us now is Akala Sam, who is a former chairman of Karu local government area in Nasarawa State. And pretty much later, hopefully, Frank will be joining us from our offsite studio. Quickly, Sam Akala, good to see you. And as Ngozi said, it's rather unfortunate. This is sad. Our condolences to the families of the students who died. But let's talk about management of things like this. How best, from your experience at the grassroots, and even in schools, we all went to schools like this, can this be handled?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here this evening. And let me start by sending my sincere condolences to the immediate families and parents of these 2 very distinguished Nigerians and Nasarawa State indigenes, and indeed the school community. And it's heartbreaking that this is happening in my alma mater. I am fortunate to be among the first set of the Nasarawa State University. That was in 2001. Waking up this morning to this news is really, really devastating, because this tragedy that befell the state today is avoidable. The essence of the distribution of the palliative, as initiated by the state government, led by the governor himself, was actually meant to reduce hardship. You are aware, all of us are aware, that there is hardship in the land. And of course, you know, where there is hardship and it's to the extreme end, it triggers anger in the land. So there is hardship and anger in the land. Now, talking about management, from what happened, I got to realize that they started the distribution from other institutions in the state. But the Nasarawa State University is the prime institution of the state. It's the reservoir of knowledge, and we call it the knowledge bank of the state. Meaning that anything that will happen within the vicinity of the community will be in best practices. The governor is the visitor of the university. The university community, the management itself, holds the visitor the responsibility of advice. You have the technocrats within your vicinity. If a governor has a program that will benefit the university community, particularly the students, you have a responsibility to advise on the best way it can be managed. The university is a well-structured institution. It's a regulated environment. You have faculties, you have departments. I do not understand why this distribution has to be done under one umbrella. You bring a lot of students. The Nasarawa State University has over 10,000 students. I cannot understand the wisdom behind bringing everybody to one location. I think the best approach should have been to decentralize the distribution. If actually this is meant to reduce hardship, you do not need to subject the students to further hardship to get the palliative. It defeats the purpose for which those things were meant to actually alleviate the hardship of the students. Imagine
Absolutely.
from your report that students were there as early as 8 a.m.
2 a.m.
Sorry, 2 a.m. keeping vigil
Waiting.
for a small, I think about 5 or 7 kg bag of rice.
5 kg bag of rice.
Now look at the number of hours, the risks involved, and everything. Anything could have happened. And now we have lost 2 prominent young ladies. Who knows? The next governor of Nasarawa State is among them. And then a parent will sit at home, listening to the radio, pick up a call to say, look, your daughter is dead because the governor actually planned to give them rice to reduce hardship, but in the process she died. Do you know the amount of shock that would have befallen
Wow.
such families?
You know,
It's a huge
it is.
tragedy for us in Nasarawa State.
It really
And
is.
as a stakeholder of the state, I am heartbroken with this development, and I think government needs to look inward. By now, heads should have been rolling. If there is a head of team who led this organization, the team for the distribution of this palliative to the Nasarawa State University, I expected by now that person should have been shown the way out of government, because this is unacceptable.
Truly unacceptable, and it's really sad because this initiative was truly applauded. I mean, the initiative by the
Absolutely.
governor was applauded, and it's not just the 5 kg bag of rice that he meant to give. An additional 5,000 naira,
Absolutely.
you know, was added to it. How best, I mean, considering that a similar situation occurred in Lagos, you know, where there was this stampede and all of that, how best could this have been handled? I know you've touched on it a bit. And how telling is it of the level of poverty in the system?
Well, just like I said, it's a known fact that poverty is on the rise at the moment in the country, and it has triggered anger. But you see, the challenge we have continued to have with our leaders is the fact that they do things as if they are doing the citizens some kind of favor. So they must do it in a manner that the cameras must take them to show that, oh, I am directly involved in doing this, or this is the quantity of things that I've given out to the people. And if not for that, you do not have any reason, even in the traditional age, you don't bring people to the market square to say that, look, there is this. In the local settings, in the villages, we have what is called anguas in our own local parlance in the north. In a community settings, there is angua, and it's headed by someone, you know. So even in those settings, you can decentralize distribution. It
But
is
this was a
only
university
community.
University
Yes,
community,
the university
yes.
community is the perfect community where you can distribute this with ease. Because it has faculties, it has departments.
Right.
All you need as a government is a data of the beneficiaries of those palliative that will be provided by the institution. So you release those things to the school, dispatch your team to supervise. So as the institution takes ownership, it distributes to faculties. The faculties further distributes to the departments. Now from the department, it gets to the students. So by that, every department is located in different places, and the students will come at their own different timings. And possibly if they have a ticket or something that will identify you as a student, because I saw in the release of the state government that some hoodlums and some miscreants also invaded the place. I don't think it is right for miscreants and hoodlums to invade a regulated environment
that's the word,
as an
regulated.
institution.
Sam Akala, let me just give me a minute. Let me bring in Sam Tietie. Frank Tietie, good to see you, and thanks for your time. Soccer has turned to pain, anguish, and a good intention has been eroded by this very sad one. Speak to us. For Sam here, he thinks that that the university system is a better community for such to never have occurred. How did we get this all mixed up. Frank?
This is really very sad. It couldn't have been any form of good intention on the part of the government to go and distribute rice to university students. That's laughable. That's an insult. That's wrong. University students should have meal tickets, go to the cafeteria to eat and face their studies, go to the library or go to the studies. What the government or the governor was thinking was that our university students should be cooking rice, and they'll be giving 5,000 naira, that is not able to buy one meal. That is how laughable it is. But that's a problem that we are grappling with in Africa, where it appears that the average African or the average Nigerian enjoys watching his fellow Nigerians suffer. How is it that you go and distribute rice to university students, for goodness sake? You don't think of giving them bursaries? The problem we're grappling with food inflation is that there's no food is not available, or there's no enough money to buy such food. I think this is an insult on Nigeria's education entirely, and the level of negligence is unacceptable on the part of the university authorities, on the part of the state government. We're looking forward to, we're watching to see the kind of compensation they want to give to the families and to the students who are injured. This is the height of irresponsible leadership. How do you organize, university in such a manner that you want to go and distribute rice, and then you allow that kind of stampede to happen? It's quite, for me, it's overwhelming. I attended Nasarawa State University. I did my National Youth Service Corps in Nasarawa State. I stayed in Kefi, and I visited the school several times. So I'm just imagining quite an undeveloped setup, anyway. But I see a lot of TET fund intervention, showing that it's quite a serene atmosphere indeed. It would have been a simple application of technology in the way it registers a student would have helped. Would have simply get tickets and then say, go to so and place and collect your bag of rice, which is something I even find very insulting to every student, any student for that matter, making nonsense of public education. It's only public schools, public universities like Nasarawa State Universities, a government will distribute rice, expecting that the boys and girls there will have pots and stove to be cooking before they go to school, and then they rush back to come and cook again. Is that how to attend university? I understand things were tough when we went to university, in the University of Benin those days, but it didn't stop the booker from working. If I recall, it did not too long, Nasarawa State University doesn't have a functioning cafeteria. And then suddenly the governor appears to be distributing rice as if he's more interested in the welfare of the students. If he was interested in the welfare of the students, he could have built a cafeteria there. He could have organized a meal ticket system where there is some measure of dignity. This undignifying, in fact, manner we treat human beings in this country, it's mind-blowing. Just imagine something that could have been done simply, perhaps with some form of, I just don't know how to express it. Yeah. That we can be this incompetent, even for the university authorities. Does it mean that they could not have contemplated this? They could not have applied technology or apply a saner manner in distributing the rice? In fact, why would the students even accept rice? If your parents sent you to school, it is to go and scramble over rice. I'm not going to blame it on the level of poverty. I blame it on the level of our value system. We've so led by stomach infrastructure that we lose our senses, even as students. Why would they fight over them, kill themselves? Students, they don't love themselves. That's the reality of our country, where we scramble for the pittances, and we're ready to even die, kill for it. Well, I hope we have another look at our national value system. Of course, we've lost the national ethos, so why wouldn't we have all this happening? I don't think this is as a result of hunger. It's as a result of the heightening irresponsibility of governance and that of the university authorities that are so incompetent.
Frank, let me stay with you on the issue of irresponsibility on the part of the state government. I mean, these are not normal times in Nigeria. Palliatives have become the buzzword from the president, from the federal level to the state, and you even expect at the local level. The federal government did dispatch some funds, to the state governments to give palliatives to their citizens. And I want to imagine that that's what Governor Sule has done in Nasarawa State. I doubt very much if he expected this really unfortunate incident to happen.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me tell you, if it was indeed the distribution of palliatives, then let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is that they were so concerned, those who were saddled with the responsibility of distributing it in a saner manner, were so concerned about catering to themselves first, whether at the student level, at the school level, or at the government level, that they forgot that they needed to do it in such a manner that is dignifying. That is the worst thing that could have ever happened, that you will reduce a university environment to that point of brigandage. And then who are you blaming on? Because you are distributing 5 kilograms of rice to every student. For goodness sake, what kind of narrative is that? Why do we enjoy this backwardness in Africa, particularly with Nigeria leading the way, as if we cannot do it better? What happened to bursaries? What happened to money? Give money to these students. Why somebody who bought those rice? And how? For good, I don't really understand. It blows my mind that if someone will send a child to school and then the child will go and scramble for rice because that is all the government has to distribute because the economy is hard and university. I wonder, what kind of graduates are we expecting from that kind of university?
You're spot on, but again, there are a lot of sides to all of this, and one of it is what Sam has also proffered. Sam, we'll bring you back again. As sad as this is to everyone, we'll start to talk about solutions. First, not just rice, there was also cash. And how best, because listening to Frank, you can't come to a university and start distributing even cash fiscally. It brings to the fore the bursary system. You said you were once a student there. Let us in on how best because we don't expect it to stop.
It doesn't happen again.
So there are other states looking to doing the same thing. So how can other states learn from this? Sam?
Okay, thank you very much. I think even for the cash, you recall that there's this drive for financial inclusiveness. Even in the villages, you find people who have account numbers, So the state government also has a bursary scheme for the students. And I'm aware that from time to time they give bursaries to these students. And they don't give them cash. They give them some kind of card where they can access their cash themselves. So for the state government, and I'm informed that the office I saddle with the responsibility of handling these palliatives is the office of the commissioner in charge of humanitarian affairs. Now, if the commissioner, whom I'm aware, who is well exposed, can be withdrawing cash from the bank to take in sacks, to go around institutions, to dish out 5,000, then I think there's something fishy about that. There are some kind of motives behind that. Otherwise, there is no student on campus who do not have an account. Yeah. So even if you're not dishing out this cash to all the students on campus, whatever yardstick of verification or nomination of beneficiaries, identification of beneficiaries is going to be doing, you are supposed to transfer this cash into the bank accounts of these beneficiaries, not going with cash to institutions of higher learning with cash to dish out. This is a recipe for crisis. Now, in the Nasarawa State University, I'm informed that it is not all the students that are going to benefit, and I think that instigated that stampede that we saw, because I cannot be a student, and then you come to the institution, and then you said I'm not a beneficiary. I do not know the yardstick that was used to select the beneficiary. Possibly the politicians will just nominate their children, and then the student union government will nominate their friends, and whoever that has supported them to be beneficiaries. I think this is unhealthy. This is archaic, to say the least, and this should not happen in any tertiary institution in our country.
Right. Frank, I mean, based on what Sam has just said, there's a level of misinformation and, you know, mishandling of information, as it were. Lessons learned. Going forward, how do you avoid this kind of situation in future?
Exalt our universities to be what they are supposed to be. University is not a place for sharing rice and for sharing cash. The fellow over there said it's a recipe for a disaster. No, it's a recipe for corruption when you now begin to carry rice or carry money to universities to go and share. We should, let me attest to something. Nasarawa State University applies technology seamlessly in the way it registers a student. I have witnessed it. I've been a student there. I did postgraduate studies there. Now, it shows that it has some persons who are thinking straight. So this does not tell well about the university authorities. Nevertheless, they failed. So first, if you tell me the way forward, we want to see a serious compensatory regime that is, we flow both from the state government and the university authorities with regards to those who have died and those who have suffered injuries, so that it will serve as a lesson to themselves that they utterly failed themselves and failed the student and by improperly organizing a sort of inappropriate palliative scheme of reducing university to a place of sharing rice and 5,000 naira each. It is expected that if there will be times, as if we didn't go to our university, I recall when the bursary scheme started, you only went to your faculty or department, you picked a check, and then you went to one of these banks, particularly any of the banks favored by the state government, and then you collected your money and left. With us seamlessly, far back when there was no internet. That was when that's how we did it in the University of Benin, in the days of James Ibori. Now, why would, in this age, you now, where you can easily apply, collect a ticket, collect whatever, and then assess whatever the government has given to you. And then the dignity will make you think back as a graduate many years later and then become a better citizen or a better person in government. But what the government of Nasarawa State has done, what the authorities of the Nasarawa State University have done, is to dehumanize Nigerian students who are in Nasarawa State, is to degrade them, make them appear like animals who are hungry, who would do anything for food. That is what they have reduced the university. In fact, they should shut down, the governor should shut down the university out of shame immediately, and then to reconstitute the whole management. Because this kind of embarrassment is unacceptable. Look at it. It's not about Nigeria, it's about Africa. How do I always look at myself as an African? Why should all these things be happening? Concerning my people, why? All the time.
All right,
we can't organize simple palliative.
All right,
this
Frank,
is very annoying.
All said and done, we do hope that definitely this will be averted in the future. I'd like to thank you as always for your time, Frank Tietie, Arise News analyst and a lawyer, and Sam Akala, who's also an indigene and an alumni of that university. Gentlemen, it's a delight having you.